bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
All right, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Thursday, March 22nd, 2018, 81 days into the new year, just 284 days left. As always, we are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? All right, tonight, we had to shift things around, so tonight, Fader Night was last night. You know this now, man. Tonight, Yvonne Smith is here. And I can't believe this because we know Lynn. There you go. Lynn Lewis just creeped into the show right there. We know Yvonne so well. And it's been many years since she's been on the show with us. So she's on with us tonight. And opening up the show tonight for Yvonne will be Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. So John's going to be with us at the bottom of the hour. Jon, of course, you know, very busy journalist. And every Wednesday night, he's on another radio program. Yeah. And so and then he comes over on Thursday nights, and he's here with us. So Jon will be with us. That's why he couldn't do Fader Night last night. I knew that. But so Jon will be with us at the bottom of the hour, okay? Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple enough, at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black questions. And tonight in the sandbox, Lynn Lewis will not be with us in the sandbox. Lynn Lewis, one of the original Fadernauts here at the show. She was the mother of this great Fadernaut family that we have here. Lynn Lewis passed away this past Sunday, and we just found out about it from her sister a few hours ago. It's 7 o'clock here, so about 5 o'clock. Our time from her sister in Australia that Lynn passed away suddenly on Sunday. And Mark Tarana, Fadernaut that holds down Australia along with Lynn, was reaching out to her, and Lynn's sister, where have you been, that kind of thing. And Lynn's sister popped in and gave us the news. So there you go. Really? I don't know, I have no idea. Rita says we're not playing on the website. Can somebody confirm that? I've got action here. I don't know. If we're not playing on the website, let me know. I don't want to get sidetracked. So there you go. Anyway, Lynn Lewis was with us from the very, very, very beginning and supported this show. I don't have any other words than that. Her checking in with us from Australia with the new hair color and other things was just a bright spot. You know, she was not only a proud Fadernaut, but the UFO community and conspiracy and questioning everything was her life. And there was something else, too. Now, this show is dedicated to Lynn tonight. There's just no question about that. And we're going to dedicate this to Lynn. But one of the things that we found out very early on was Lynn had to go in for dialysis quite often in the hospital. And so what she would do for everybody at the hospital, because of the timing of the show and Australia's time zone, she would go in with her tablet and play Fade to Black for everybody in the hospital. And she got everybody turned on to Fade to Black. And when she told me, she goes, "Oh, yeah, man, everybody, the doctors, the nurses, and she was just great. She was absolutely amazing. And her knowledge, though, was just, and I feel so weird talking about this in the past tense, but one thing is for sure, and I just said this at the beginning of the show, was I slipped up and said Lynn instead of Yvonne. And I said, wouldn't it be funny if Lynn just poked her head into the show tonight? Wouldn't that be funny? Well, she did. And maybe she'll knock something over in here. And if anybody would be pulling that off, it would be Lynn Lewis. So, Lynn, rest in peace. Rest in peace. Go Beckley Tepe. You were a seeker of the truth, and now you found out the ultimate question, man. What is going on the other side? Lynn Lewis passed away this past Sunday. All right. Wow. Rita and I are just completely bummed. But let's, the show must go on, you know, and she was the one thing that would say just so often, you know, that this show means so much and the show must continue. And she supported it in every way that she could. So there you go. This show is dedicated to Lynn Lewis. Okay. The platform on Stellar is launching, and I've been talking about this now for the past 9 days. And if you go to onstellar.com, you can watch the trailer. It's right there. You can get all of the data that you need about OnStellar and what it is, and you can read the white paper. Of course, it's built on the blockchain. And this platform, social media platform, is going to take the best of everything out there. We're going to wrap it all into one. It's virtually ready to go into the testing phase. So go, go and register on Stellar.com. Use the promo code Jimmy. There's a spot down there on the bottom, referral code. Just pop Jimmy in there. Get registered. It'll go over to your email, verify through your email, come back, and reserve your screen name. You can get all of that done. And what we want to do is this. So this is the goal. And not only live here tonight to the live audience, but later in the archives if you're not listening to the live show. Let me stress this. Go and register and get your screen name, because we are going to be going into a testing phase. And all of you users out there that want to come in and build your page and test it and go through all of that, you can do that. And we need you for that. And the more, the merrier. Okay, I would like to get, a couple 100,000 of you to go in and break this website and figure out those bugs and get everything right. And you will be participating in history. Okay, so think about that. How important it is, and that you can be involved. How great of an idea is that? Okay, so go register. Promo code Jimmy. All right, and then there you have an opportunity there after you register where you can go and get your own promo code, and we'll have some really cool things tied in with that, and I certainly don't get anything for your promo code, or anything like that. It's not about that. But we're doing everything around this for you, right? So if you help us promote and get more people to come in and register with your promo code, there'll be some really cool things for you down the road, right? So we're thinking of cool things, right? We're thinking of maybe giving away some tokens or some features on the site, or maybe a little cool On Stellar pin or some T-shirts or something, just to reward you for coming in. Who else would do that, right? Facebook wouldn't send you a Facebook T-shirt, not that you would want to wear one, but that's what we're doing for you. Okay, so go and register on Stellar. It's the next great social media platform for our community, built on the blockchain, and it's going to be huge. Okay, so go and register to On Stellar right now, onstellar.com. All right, the ECETI Roadshow is continuing up the west coast of the United States. If you want to go hang out with Ashley and the folks over at ECETI, click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com, and you'll have their schedule and details right there. Our next event, it's coming up. I can't believe it. We're sitting here on March 22nd, so we got April, May. That's it. And then it's Contact in the Desert in Indian Wells, Palm Springs, Southern California, at the Renaissance Resort and Spa, the biggest UFO conference in the world, right there in Palm Springs. And an amazing lineup of speakers. We've got a lot of cool things and events going on. Our booth is going to be great. On Stellar's going to have a booth. We're all going to be together with Stillness of the Storm and Modern Masters and Fade to Black. And On Stellar, we got this big chunk of real estate right there. And so you're going to want to come and hang out with us all weekend. We'll be broadcasting Fade to Black live on Friday night in front of a studio audience. Well, we say that every year. It's in front of a big group of Fadernauts. So come and hang out with us. The Contact in the Desert. Okay, and then right after that, which is August 9th through the 12th, is our conference up at ECETI Ranch, and it's called the Soul Tech Gathering. Go to soultechgathering.com. And we're only selling 300 tickets for this, 300 Fadernauts getting together up in Washington. And you can click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, $2 a month, over 800 archive shows. And you can also become a Fadernaut, an official Fadernaut, over in our membership section on the site, where we've got the Bunker Cam, which I'm waving at now. Hello to everybody on the Bunker Cam. Commercial-free downloadable archives and autographed hats and T-shirts and all that stuff. And you can do that over in our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. All right, let's get this show cracking. Today, happy birthday to William Shatner, Captain James Tiberius Kirk, 87 years old. Unbelievable. 87, William Shatner. Also today, Pawn star Rick Harrison is 53. And when I saw this, now, before Fade to Black, okay, before Fade to Black, back when I had a life, right? Before all of that mess, I went through a couple of years of addiction to Pawn Stars. I admit it right now, Chumley. I admit it, man. I watched all the Pawn Stars marathons. And never been there, though. We just got back from Vegas, too, and we didn't go over there. But, man, that guy's built an empire, hasn't he? Just off of a pawn shop. Rick Harrison today is 53. Matthew Modine today is 59. Now, I like Matthew Modine. I like Matthew Modine almost as much as I like my River Moon coffee. Matthew Modine. Now, he was really good in Weeds. He was really good in Stranger Things, right? But nothing, and I mean nothing, is better than his role, Private Joker, in Full Metal Jacket. Matthew Modine will always will always make the birthday list because of Full Metal Jacket. All right, on this day in history, OTD, 1984. I want to talk about this for a minute. 1984, 7 teachers at the McMartin Preschool in Manhattan Beach, California, are indicted by the Los Angeles County Grand Jury after hearing testimony from 18 children, including among the charged are Peggy McMartin Bucky, the head of the school, and her son Ray Bucky. 7 years, millions and millions of dollars later, the case against the teachers came to a close with no evidence of wrongdoing and no convictions. Now, this was 34 years ago. A lot of you out there weren't born when this went down, so you don't know about the McMartin Preschool case. Here in California, I had just arrived from Indianapolis, and when these indictments went down. And it took over everything. And the trial was broadcast on television, and it took over Los Angeles. And it was the craziest stuff you ever heard. And the evidence in this case, and this is from 3-year-old, preschool, right? 3-year-old, 4-year-old kids, got crazier and crazier and crazier. And as it turned out, and in the end, of course, all charges were dropped and everybody was found innocent. But in the end, it seemed that the prosecutors and the specialists in the case that were interviewing these children with dolls, right, and having them describe the children through probably crazy powers of suggestion, let their fantasies run wild. And it got crazy. And without getting into specifics, but it was just like, I just remember crazy stuff. If I just made up stuff right now and said it out loud, and just made it up, it was crazier than that. It was like dead rabbits and drinking blood and skinning animals and satanic rituals and just crazy talk about what went down and the McMartin Preschool. And it turned out none of it happened. It was all just, innocent little kids letting their imaginations run because they are being controlled by these adults in what to say. And it was crazy. And Mark just says, in the Hermosa, Manhattan, Redondo Beach communities, everyone had a "I believe the children" bumper sticker on their car. I totally remember that. Mark. And it was the fever pitch. And Peggy McMartin and her son Ray were looking like, the more that you looked at them, because you were hearing all of this crazy testimony, you just hated them. They looked like, and it was the craziest fever pitch thing. And at the same time that was going down, we had the Night Stalker, right? We had that going down here in LA with the serial killings that were going on. So it was just like this crazy summer. And after everything, and I'm remembering, now this went on for 7 years, and they just kept trying. And then, as it just turned out, there was nothing. There was never any evidence of anything. So I want to take that to today. As an example, what went down with the McMartin Preschool case is that all of us out there, all of us, have great compassion and have emotional ties to innocent children that are defenseless, right? And so one little hint of this, the anger, it's just right there. It's immediate, and it's just like this gang mentality. You just want to riots in the streets. It's like that. And today, we still have that. And it's really easy to provoke emotions in all of us. And it's so hard to pull back and go, wait a minute, what's really going on here? Let's try to figure this out. Let's try to get rational again. And we just don't do it. You know, and with the Salem witch trials, or you could just go to any crazy event in history where things like this went on. And we do it. We do it time after time after time. It seems like we never learn our lesson. And every time that the McMartin preschool case comes up, and I go back and I think, because I want to suggest, and believe that I'm smarter than that. That I can think through it. I can get through that. I can figure things out on my own. When it came to the McMartin preschool case, I was all in. Just like Mark just posted here, the bumper stickers all over the place. I believe the children. And L.A., I'm talking about millions of people. The McMartins, they couldn't do anything. Their faces were plastered everywhere. Satanic cult at a preschool. 18 kids say, and it was unbelievable. Yeah, the Satanic Panic. That's exactly what it was called. It was unbelievable. You know, and I bought into it, just like everybody else. And when every friend of yours, every boss, every coworker, every family, everybody that you know was talking about this in the negative sense, and you're listening to it, and you're watching it on TV, and you're watching the trial and this and the evidence and that, you're convinced. It was unbelievable. Each year it seems like I talk about the McMartin case. It's a real lesson in psychology, you know, and no, that was put out there by the religious broadcasting networks all over the country and probably in the institutions themselves. 700 Club, anyone? David is from Los Angeles, right? That just posted that. And he knows, man, he went through this too. And it was an unbelievable time. So anyway, I haven't gone back. I should do a little research to find out. Ray Bucky, I think Peggy McMartin, I think she died. I might be wrong, but something says to me that she died a few years ago. Ray Bucky, her son, certainly must be alive. I doubt he would live in Los Angeles. But wow, you know, it was like that. So even I, you know, and it was a lesson that I learned. So when I hear, we had a caller last night that wanted to call in and talk about, these different crisis actors and these crazy things around the country and the conspiracies behind those and the false flags. I'm telling you, when something goes down, and the lesson that I learned, like with the McMartin case, you just can't pass judgment. You can't. Hey, a lot of people are guilty and they're found guilty. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying the McMartin case, I bought in. It was crazy. All right. So that's it. Whenever you get anything today and it's crazy and it's sensational, let it play out. There's a reason why we have the court system, right? Because with the McMartin case, they were guilty. They were guilty. Nobody wanted to hear about that. They were done. The trial was a waste of time. Yeah, think about it. Fader fact. One of the late Stephen Hawking's widely accepted theories is that black holes aren't black. Remember? Black holes, right? Actually, they have no color. Yep. Everything gets sucked in, including color, including the color black. And that is a Fader fact. All right. Tonight, Yvonne Smith is here. Last night, she was supposed to be here. We moved Fader night to last night. And it was a great show, by the way. And thank you to everybody that called in. That's one of my favorite things to do all week. She was with Grant Cameron last night. Grant Cameron came in from Canada and for the last 2 nights was speaking here in Southern California. So we moved Yvonne from last night to tonight. But it was Fader night. We couldn't move Jon Rappoport over to last night for Fader night because he's got a commitment that he does every Wednesday night. So Jon Rappoport is with us tonight. So when I come back after this break, we'll have Jon Rappoport here. Oh, yes. And also, I made a mistake, and I couldn't believe this. And you guys want to laugh? You really want a good laugh? It's Lynn Lewis's fault. I had said this week that I was on Coast to Coast this Friday and Saturday. So today, I'm literally, and yesterday, and I'm not joking, I was booking Coast and working and prepping the show and getting ready for Coast to Coast this weekend. And then I checked, and it turned out that I'm on Coast next week, next Friday and Saturday. And I'm on Coast the weekend after that, too, as well. And that's all officially checked. So I misspoke yesterday and the night before that. I never checked my calendar. Can you believe it? I just had it in my head. So luckily, I called the guest, and I was like, oh, by the way, it's next Friday. Oh, cool. Okay. All right. And, oh, by the way, it's next Saturday. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. I didn't tell him that I screwed up, but that's really, really funny. So everybody, I'm not on Coast tomorrow night. I'm not on Coast this Saturday. I'm on Coast next weekend and the weekend after that. All right, are we good? Are we good? Again, tonight's show is dedicated to Lynn Lewis. And when she would call in from Australia, I've got to say this, and I really mean it. She was so funny, so witty, so cool, and so smart, and made sure that all of you were kept in line. That was her gig. And this Fader Not family, she was the mom from the word go. She kept you guys in line, and she was smart and asked all the right questions. And she left this earth this past Sunday. So this show is dedicated to Lynn. And Rita and I are completely tore up and bummed. But the truth is this, whatever is going on the other side, somebody like Lynn is over there causing trouble. She has found out, and now she's asking questions. Rest in peace, Lynn Lewis. And our thoughts and prayers are with Lynn and her family. And there you go. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight's show dedicated to Lynn Lewis. Top of the hour. Yvonne Smith will be here. I'm going to take a short break, and when I come back, we'll be joined by the one and only Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that, life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake Newsroom in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world as it is fed to us every day by the Ministry of Truth is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash, they all go down, and we see the light of day. A new day. No more robots. No more androids. It's the No More Fake Newsroom with Jon Rappoport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Good to be here, as always. So I was casting around to see what stories to cover and so on and so forth. And I thought, let's not take a night off, but in 1994, 12 years into a career as a reporter, I decided on the spur of the moment to do something completely and utterly insane. And that was run for a seat in the U.S. Congress from the 29th District in Los Angeles. I'm not sure how I came to that decision. I know I was on the phone with a friend, and we were talking about the man that I was going to run against, Henry Waxman, who was a 20-year incumbent congressman from that district by that time, Democrat. And somehow, some way, the whole conversation turned around, and I decided, why not? Why not? What is there to lose? Well, at that time, the Health Freedom Movement, as it was called, was well underway. There had been FDA raids on the offices of alternative practitioners, and they were getting national publicity. At the same time, nutritional supplement companies were feeling the heat, and they felt that the FDA was about to try to take some draconian actions to limit people's access to the full range of nutritional supplements. And so they wanted a bill in Congress. They wanted a law. And a bill was, in fact, put up for consideration that was eventually passed, called the Hatch Act, which, as far as I was concerned, and a number of other people, did not go far enough, nearly far enough, to curb the power of the FDA when it came to supplements and natural health in general. But okay, so there I was, having made this decision, with no idea in the world as to how I was going to run a campaign. I had no professionals on staff. I had no consultants, no advisors, very little money. You know, all the prerequisites for winning a political campaign against a 20-year incumbent. But had a meeting with some friends, and a core group of about 6 of us emerged that were going to give this thing a try. And the best thing for me that came out of all of this, by the way, was meeting my future wife, Laura, who worked on my campaign. And that was by far the best outcome in this whole insane proposition. So we raised a bit of money. I kicked in some of my own, and we were off and running, buying posters that we put up all over town, and I was going to run against my opponent in the Democratic primary, because I decided, well, if I run as a Republican or an independent in that particular district, I would have no chance of winning. So I had to challenge him in the Democratic primary. So I just want to give you a few snapshots and highlights from this madcap episode called A Political Campaign. First of all, I was somewhat surprised to discover that virtually none of the big nutritional supplement companies were willing to donate to my campaign. I guess they thought that I was a bit radioactive because I was carrying on a full-bore attack against the FDA. I was saying things like, you know, the buildings should be fumigated, everybody should be fired, we should start all over again because this was a terminally corrupt rogue agency that was partners with the pharmaceutical industry and was trying to destroy natural health. Well, that was way too much for these folks. So one of the most interesting moments was at a natural health trade show where I met the CEO of a fairly large supplement company. And he sat down and proceeded to regale me with how much money he had, how comfortable his life was, his trips to Europe, his interest in fine wines, and by the way, why didn't I buy a more expensive suit? That was a prerequisite for running for Congress. Try as I might to discuss issues with him, he was much more interested in haberdashers and tailors and wine and impressing me with his money than anything else. I kind of staggered away from that, and I told a few people about what happened, and we couldn't believe it. I mean, this was a guy that was supposedly much on the side of health freedom. Another very interesting incident occurred when a meeting was called with people who were very much in the health freedom camp because we were all dissatisfied with this so-called Hatch bill, and we thought it should go a lot farther than it did. And we were meeting to write an addendum to it, which we would submit to the sponsors of the bill in Congress. We basically wanted natural health practitioners and nutritional supplement manufacturers to have the widest possible freedom as long as they were not harming anybody. And the supplements obviously were not. So somebody called this meeting, and there were about 20 of us sitting in a room, and they brought in a guy from a local college who was going to, what would you call it, lead the discussion, mediate the conversation. And this lunatic was trained in some method and system of how you do conversation. And he had a big blackboard, and he said, so the first thing I'd like to do, and I'm paraphrasing because my memory isn't absolutely precise on this, was let's hear from each of you as to what your definition of the word health is. And I will write it on the blackboard. Well, 2 or 3 people talked, and the rest of us looked at each other, and we thought, man, at this rate, we're going to be here for 6 or 7 hours at the least before we get down to any business, because this guy is treating us like we're 8-year-olds. And my suspicion was that this whole meeting was some kind of a put-up job and a setup and a hoax to keep us from becoming a radical influence, shall we say, on the lawmakers who were all set to try to pass what we thought was a watered-down bill. So I got up and I said, let's cut all this crap out. That's my suggestion. And, this guy looked at me like, oh, my God, I said, we don't need any definitions. We know what these words mean. And we're here to write an addendum to the bill. And my suggestion is that all nutritional supplement sellers have free reign to sell whatever they want to, until and unless it's shown that their products are harmful, because statistics show that almost nobody is ever killed by nutritional supplements, whereas pharmaceutical drugs can be very devastating. And a couple of people agreed, and this guy just kind of literally slunk out of the room. The mediator, the negotiator, the host of this meeting, he just, faded out and disappeared. And I always wondered, and I talked to some people after, I said, who do you think that guy was? Somebody said, well, some kind of a plant, obviously. He was put in here to, derail this whole thing and make it go nowhere. So we did our thing, and we wrote our, took like 40 minutes to write an addendum. We submitted it, never went anywhere in Congress with the bill's sponsors, of course. I met with a prominent rabbi in the district, and I said to him, look, my position is that the negotiations in the Middle East between the Palestinians and the Israelis, all this stuff, as we know, is going nowhere. But there are groups on both sides, citizens, who already know each other and already want to form their own peace movement and do their own negotiations and try to take this from the grassroots level, which I think is, the way you've got to go. And he said, well, I agree with you. He said, but you've got to understand that in this mostly or large population, Jewish population in that particular district, he said, there are some issues on which I would be willing to go up against the incumbent congressman, and some I would not, and this is one of those that I'm going to pass on. Just not going to ripple the waters, And that was the first political conversation I had ever had of any meaning and import with somebody who basically told me, I agree with you, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm backing away from this. I don't want to get involved. I appreciate what you're saying, but no thanks. I thought that was quite interesting to just be there in the room in a conversation like that. It's not abstract. It has to do with, I'm running for Congress. I want this guy's support. He's a key figure. No dice. I gave talks during the campaign, not very well attended. We did manage to raise some money from one or two nutritional supplement manufacturers. And then 2/3 of the way through the campaign, one day I woke up and I said, what would I do if I won? And that stopped me cold, paralyzed me. What would I do if I actually somehow, by a miracle, I won this thing and I went to Washington? Because I'm not in the same ballpark as these politicians. I mean, it's like we're from different planets. I'm certainly not going to go along with, life in Washington, that's for sure. Well, we had started our own campaign, a strategy, which was to get exposure. We rented a few big trucks. And on the sides of the trucks, we had posters with my name on it, Congress, blah, 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 running for Congress. And we had a few of our people drive these trucks around the district in the most traffic clogged areas so they get the most exposure, right? And I thought, that's what I would do if I went to Washington. We would now have a budget. I'd say 15 trucks, big ones. And we would have drivers drive them slowly around Washington, D.C. And on the sides of the trucks would be large posters that said, Corrupt Congressman of the Week, with a picture of the congressman, Democrat, Republican, didn't make any difference. And in one column in giant letters would be the money that he took from whoever he took it from. And on the other column on the right side would be the corresponding votes that he made in alignment with the money that he received. And every week there would be a new face and the trucks would go out, a new corrupt congressman of the week. And I said to my guys, campaign people, I said, this is going to be the bulk of what we do if we go to Washington, if by some miracle we win, because it's the only thing we can do. We have to be the disruptors, complete disruptors. And somebody said, well, yeah, I mean, in the first month, you're going to get censured by the Congress if you win. And they won't let you on any of the committees, and people won't talk to you, and, that kind of thing. And I said, so what? I don't want to be on any of the committees. I don't want to talk to these guys. I never have. I've done one or two interviews with politicians up to that point, and I said I didn't enjoy them at all. It just seemed like a charade. So let's be the disruptors. That's what we'll do. We'll try to disrupt people's hypnotic acceptance of the way Congress operates, and we'll expose as much corruption as we possibly can. And the people that I talked to about this in my campaign said, okay, let's do it, But of course, I don't think anybody expected that we would win. So here was the jackpot. On election night, we were at a bookstore in Santa Monica, And the polls closed, and we were watching the local news, and they said, well, first, we have the results of the absentee ballots. And my opponent, Mr. Waxman, got 80% of those, and I got 20%. And they said, okay, updates as we have them, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody said, where are they counting the votes? And, you know, big silence. And then somebody said, I know, it's down in, I think it was Norwalk, which is south of Los Angeles, at the county registrar's building. Let's go down there. Let's see what's happening. All right, great. So we all piled into cars and drove down there. Very dark. The whole city was dark, except for this one big building that had lights on. And as I recall, trucks were driving up, and there was a helicopter and all kinds of action happening, which I guess were the votes being delivered to be counted. And about 6 of us walked in there, and we were met by some person who reminded me of an airline attendant. You know, she kind of walked up to us real bright and cheery. This was like 9 o'clock or 9:30 at night. We were all exhausted from the campaign. Hi, how are you doing? My name is Cindy, or whatever, you know. Yeah, I'm a candidate, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, let me take you on a tour. And so we all went on the tour. And the first stop was people who were assembling the punch cards. That's what they used. Into piles and stacks, you know, at tables, and unclear exactly. And we then moved on. And then we found a number of computers. And she said, oh, so these are computers that have been modified to become processors to count the votes. And we looked at those kind of, you know, like dumb. What are we learning? Nothing. Just a bunch of computers, you know, that are counting votes. Completely opaque. Then we were taken into a room that had a few computer monitors and people sitting at them. And she said, now, every half hour we get updates on the vote count. You can see those just by looking over the person's shoulder at the screen. Oh, great. Okay, fine. So one of us said, you know, those computers that were counting votes, what happens after that? And she said, well, upstairs we have a larger computer where all that feeds into from the downstairs processors. Can we see that? Yes, of course. But you can't go in the room. So we took an elevator upstairs, and outside a small room, there was a large computer, like a console. And we stared at that, knowing nothing. And then we said, what happens now? And she said, oh, well, the results are sent to a mainframe 8 miles away, and then the final tabulation is done, then they come back here. Really? Yeah. Can we go over there and look at that? She said, I'm not sure. Maybe you can get permission. But we thought, well, you know, we haven't seen anything so far, really. You know, I mean, you don't get the feeling that you're in anything. You're just staring at machines and some people, and it's all happening. The vote is supposed to be transparent. So we decided to go back to the room where the people were sitting at monitors so that every 20 minutes or a half hour we could see the update. We did that for quite a while. And here was the kicker. Every time the update came in with the percentages of the vote, my opponent had 80% and I had 20%. I think once it varied all night to 79 and 21. And, you know, we were looking at each other. I said, how is this possible? I mean, first the absentee ballots came in, 80-20. That was what they told us on the news. Now we're seeing the same thing. at every update, the percentages don't change. It stays at 80-20. I mean, mathematically, statistically, it just wouldn't happen that way. So I talked to somebody there. I said, how is this possible and so forth? And they just shrugged and said, well, you're seeing the count and the percentages. I can't tell you anything more than that. And that was the outcome of the election, 80%, 20%. What about a recount? Yes, that's possible. And I'm trying to remember the figure that we had to come up with. It was something like $6 or $7 grand a day to do a recount. And how would the recount be done? And if I'm remembering correctly, what they said was, we run the cards through again. Well, how good is that going to be? We still don't see anything. We don't know what's inside the machines or how they're programmed. What software, what are the codes? You're so distant from the process. So I spoke with a computer pro, and I said to him, should we raise the money or try to raise the money and do a recount? And this is what he said to me. A guy with a laptop and a phone, this was again 1994, could tap into the process of counting votes, change the codes, get the percentages that were desired, put the original code back, and you would never know what happened. I said, so you're telling me that, yeah. He said, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. And that was the end of that. Subsequently, read a great deal more about vote counting, vote machines, who owns the machines, vote fraud. Followed it since then in several elections to see, again, Prop 37 in California was definitely a moment that was to label GMO food a ballot initiative where I believe there was a good chance of vote fraud. Learned a great deal more about the subject since then. But my personal experience in that election was I got as close as you could possibly get as a candidate to see the process of vote count. I can't tell you what happened exactly because I don't know. Because as close as I could get, there is nothing to see. Nothing to see. And that is the political lesson that I learned. Nothing to see here. Move along.
I got to admit, John, that's one of the best stories I've heard in a long time. And I did a couple of face palms on that's precious, man. Running around D.C. with corrupt Congressman of the Week posters. Yeah. Yeah. What a great idea. And I could only imagine see, this is the thing. You're so glad that you didn't win. If you would have won, you would have been such a disruptor in the system. You might have been one and done. Right. But
I don't think there'd be any question about
I know, right? But what a great story. What a great story. And you're absolutely right. You can't get any closer to the system than that. And what did you find out? Nothing. Yeah, that's really a trip, man. That's really a trip. Thank you for sharing that with us, my friend. And okay. I wanted to we're out of time. But at one point, I want to talk to you about the McMartin case. And today was the anniversary of the indictments going down. But I've got to get out of here and get our guest on. But
absolutely,
yeah, what a fascinating case, right? And
indeed,
yeah. Thank you so much, John. Be safe and be well out there, and go run for Congress. You've got my support.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I'll talk to you, Jon Rappoport, everybody, and do what I do every single day, which is start your day at nomorefakenews.com. John started that 20 years ago. All right, this is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This show is dedicated to Lynn Lewis. She's out there laughing right now with John. I'll be right back with our guest, Yvonne Smith. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit Capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Backley Tappy.
You're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Backley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Yvonne Smith is here. This show is dedicated to Lynn Lewis, and I do want to thank Jon Rappoport for coming in. No More Fake Newsroom Live. That was one of the best segments that he has done over the last couple of years. That was absolutely amazing. It's been a while since Yvonne has been on the show with us,
But she became concerned with victims of post-traumatic stress disorder, otherwise known as PTSD, in the late 1980s, and in 1990 received her certification from the California Hypnosis Motivation Institute. And she immediately began to work with PTSD victims, assisting them and encouraging them to work through and cope with their PTSD. Observing that many of her subjects were describing a pattern of alien abduction and other close encounter experiences, in 1991, Yvonne founded CERO, Close Encounter Resource Organization, right here in Los Angeles, which provides personal attention and maintains active monthly support group meetings where PTSD victims share their thoughts and feelings about their unusual experiences. Now, while maintaining personal contact with their subjects since 1991, Yvonne extensively co-lectured with Harvard's John Mack, Bud Hopkins, and David Jacobs right here in the United States at MIT and several other universities. Her television appearances have included MSNBC, the Discovery Channel, History Channel, Montel Williams Show, Encounters, Sightings, Roseanne Barr, The Joan Rivers Show, and The Lisa Show. She has published 2 books, Coronado, which I have here and have read a couple of times, amazing book, and most recently, Chosen, Recollections of UFO Abductions Through Hypnotherapy. And I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black our good friend, the one and only Yvonne Smith. Yvonne, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, Jimmy. Thank you for having me on.
How is life?
Life is wonderful. I'm enjoying this rain. We certainly need it. And doing your show.
Yeah, the rain. Anywhere else in the country, everybody is bummed. Here, I'll run around the streets buck naked and enjoy this because we just don't get it. We just don't get it. And it's just absolutely.
That's right.
It hasn't stopped now. I was talking about this last night on the show. Really, it's been raining for a week straight. Everybody's talking about these last 2 days, right? But it's been raining pretty steady here for about a week. It's just, I love every second of it.
I do too. I just say prayers for the people who live in the burn areas, like my cousin Nicole, who lives up in Santa Barbara. They've had to evacuate 3 times. So I'm just hoping and praying that this time no one is hurt or killed. So sending some positive thoughts their way, but at the same time, just thanking the universe that we're getting this rain because we do need it.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt. And what's really cool is we moved you from last night to tonight because you've been hanging out with Grant Cameron. He spoke here in Los Angeles for the last 2 days, and you were at his event last night down in Laguna. How'd that go? How was it?
Well, we had some of my CERO members, and I took him out to lunch down there in Newport Beach, and I think we concluded the lunch about 3 o'clock, and as it turned out, I had to get back home, and so my CERO members attended the lecture, and they said it went very well, and he even talked about my new book, Chosen, and the new book, Jimmy, the one that I just published, the subtitle for that is From the Alien Hybrid Program to the Fate of the Planet. My first book, Chosen, is the one that you had mentioned previously, which is still on. I know they're selling used copies on Amazon, but this new one, which has a white cover, is on Amazon as well. And Grant wrote the foreword, and he mentioned the book last night because we were talking at lunch about the experiencers and how the abductions really revolves around the hybrid program and the experiencers. So he and I are just right on the same page about that. And so he did a very interesting talk. I find him to be one of the most credible people in the field, and have a lot of respect for him as a colleague and a friend.
Yeah, one of my prized possessions is a picture of you and I and Grant for years ago too. It's that was like 5 years ago now.
Yes.
But
yes, and I think, didn't you put out a picture on Facebook just this week about you and I took a picture together at the Contact in the Desert a couple of years ago, which I thought was a great picture.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I remember that. And we've that's what the amazing thing is about us and our community, in that you and I, we've got contact and we've got our friends and our support groups and this circle. And we're out there doing so much work, and so are you. I've ran into you in Roswell, right? We got to hang out all weekend,
Yes.
and your son.
Yes.
And the next thing you know, the years go by, and here you are on the show. I can't believe it's been like 4 years since you were with us, and so much has happened since then.
Yeah.
And I actually want to address that. I want to go pretty deep, pretty direct right away. And it's this. With everything that is going on today with disclosure, the things coming out of not only the Pentagon in these videos, but there's other things that are happening too as well with experiencers and abductees and our community that is growing. There is something going on here that can't be ignored anymore. And there are those out there that want to say that millions of experiencers and abductees are crazy. And it's absolutely the opposite, isn't it?
Right, exactly. People can say that they're crazy. I don't listen to that anymore. I mean, we're pretty much beyond that. The skeptics are still going to be out there. The debunkers are still going to be out there. But, we have so much evidence now about, not just the craft in the sky that are tracked on radar, but we have millions of people who are talking about these experiences. I mean, people from all over the world. When I have lectured in other parts of the world, I present my, PowerPoint presentation, and even if people don't speak English, they'll come up with an interpreter, and something will resonate with them from my slides and artwork that experiencers have done over the years. And here they are in, say, Italy or Brazil, and they're talking about the same experience. So, this is a worldwide phenomenon. It's more widespread than the general public would probably care to know, because I know it many times. I mean, it frightens people. They feel that, their little world is going to be shattered, and it will be, when they realize there is something more to our world and what's going on around us. We have marks and scars that come up overnight with people. I'm talking about geometric marks. I present the triangles because they're very difficult to explain away that, somebody just bumped on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you bump in the door in a triangular form? There's needle marks in these triangles. There's bruises. There skin. The skin is raised often within these triangles. We have, we're still working on the implants. Since my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Roger Lear, passed away a few years ago, I'm still trying to bring on board another surgeon who's willing to do the work. We do not have to use the doctor's name. We just need someone who is willing to extract these objects, and then we can send them off to the labs. Now, I will be talking to a doctor soon, as soon as we can arrange a meeting. He does not live in California, but I understand he's interested in the subject and possibly doing the surgeries. So I'll have to update you on that, because I was speaking to my colleague Chase Klotsky at the UFO Congress this past February, last month, and she told me that there was a doctor that was very interested. So we have a lot of work to do, but we still have to continue because people are constantly contacting me and saying they feel they have something in their bodies. Some of them want to look at it and removing them. Others do not. But there's so many people that they feel that they may have had this experience. So, and as I mentioned before, the UFO phenomenon, all of this, it revolves around the experiencers, the abduction scenario. That is the main, I feel that is the main focus of these alien beings. They need us.
I remember the first time you showed me a set of photographs of the triangles, right? And I'm looking at those. Mm-hmm. And this is what I thought to myself. Today I'm 54. And so, but I remember when I was first looking at those pictures, and I thought to myself, I have never had a triangle bruise, right? I've never, how does that happen? How does that happen in nature? And I found myself looking around. What do I have that is a triangle that I could bump into that would cause that? And it's a fascinating thing to stop and think about. And I ask anybody to do the same thing. Look at the photographs. Now take a look around your house. What do you have? Right? What do you have? What do you have that's a triangle that you could bump into that's going to cause that mark?
And that I've asked a couple of my doctor friends, and they can't explain how that happened. So that's why I present mainly the triangles. Now, if I just had one person come up with a triangle, I probably wouldn't even put it in my lecture. But I've had several over the years, and as I mentioned, some of them look like they've been burned on. Mm-hmm. Others look like they're three dots, but needle marks, or needle marks within the triangle, several needle marks. These appear overnight. So if anyone happens to have something appear overnight that they knew for sure was not there the night before, and usually what's very unusual about these marks and scars, it usually doesn't cause pain. So the person doesn't notice them right away. But take a picture, begin to document the marks that come up on your body, or very strange or vivid dreams. I call it high strangeness. There's a lot of high strangeness connected with this phenomenon. So, because at some point, you may want to look into this down the road through regressive hypnosis. And at some point, your children are going to start talking about this high strangeness. And people have come to me, parents, and said, oh my God, my 5-year-old is starting to talk to me about something coming in their room, and I've been putting it on the back burner for so many years, but I feel like I need to find out what happened to me so I can help my children. And I've had that so many times from parents, because this begins in childhood, and it follows a person throughout their life, and it runs in the family. It's a family affair, I call it.
Now, what is it? There's probably a few things, but I'm sure because you've done so many sessions and you're so respected in the community that you have done so many sessions. And as you're going through another session, somebody's going to say something that you go, okay, holy crap, right? Here we go again. And it's some consistent thing. What is that? And then after you answer that, don't forget, then is there a point in some sessions where you go, okay, we got to stop. You weren't abducted. There's something else going on here, but you weren't abducted. So let's do the first question first, and then we'll do the second. When
I started doing the regressions this has been 26 years now, I was amazed as I began getting more clients and, talking about these strange dreams and so forth. So from person to person, I was amazed when they began describing the head procedures. I mean, I almost got to the point where I waited for it. Needles on the top of the head, needles behind, in the back of the head to where the neck meets the spinal column.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a medical person, so I don't have technical terms for this. Needles in the ears. Usually it's concentrated on maybe the left ear or the right ear. Needles in their nasal passage, and Bud spoke about this many years ago, and he was my mentor when, and this was way before we even talked about implants. I mean, we were not even, we weren't even aware that, okay, what are these alien beings doing with these needles? Bud had an idea because he had an X-ray of a woman who had it. It looked like a corkscrew type object in her nose, but I couldn't believe what I was hearing from person to person. And these people didn't know each other. Mm-hmm. They came from different parts of the country when these things happened to them. So that's when I sat there. I said, "Oh my God, this is real. These people aren't making this up." And it's, that's the deep emotion that happens during a session when they're reliving the experience. And then you had asked if I had somebody in hypnosis, and I came to the conclusion that they weren't abducted. It's very, very rarely do I get to the point where I have them in hypnosis. Usually I could weed them out going through the vetting process after I send out my questionnaires and I interview them, and can I look at their background? I look at the family history. I could pretty much weed them out. I become like a homicide detective.
Right.
I compare it to.
Right.
And
right.
I've spoken to a couple of detectives because I used to work for the LA Superior Court many years ago, and they have a sixth sense. They know. They can sense when somebody's telling them the truth, or if they know they're withholding something. And I think I've developed that with this work. But every once in a while, and I could probably count it on one hand, where the person had a dream and they wanted to look into it, and it very rarely, I'll have them in hypnosis and nothing comes through. Now, it's hard to make that assessment after the very first session because everybody reacts differently. Many times there's blocks where a person can't get past a certain point, whether it's fear, and their fear or the subconscious is blocking them. That's what our subconscious does. Its job is to protect us from something frightening or traumatic, or it's the alien beings who have tried to block the person's mind. So it usually takes, more than one session. And when that happens, when I've already had them in hypnosis, I'll have them come back because I suspect that there is a block there that we have to get through. And everybody's different. So sometimes it could take, 2 sessions, sometimes, more. But usually I'm pretty successful in getting through the blocks.
The other part of it, and I was just listening to you reminded me, I had a friend, musician friend, back in the 80s here in Southern California, and I go over to his house one day, and I go in, and he introduces me to his parents, and his dad's a detective, right? And I'm a kid, man. I'm like 21 in Pasadena, right? And his dad just asking me a few questions about what, about me. I never went back. I was like, man,
you were intimidated.
Yeah, man, they have got that ability to suck the truth out of you.
They do.
Yeah, you are so right. I was just thinking about that. I never went back. I was so freaked out. It was like, he what's the word? He controlled me. And they have that ability to do that. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Once you pick up that sense, so you can weed it out. Have you, out of your percentage, because you do so many sessions, how many do you end up rejecting?
Oh, gosh. It's I'm not sure about, it's a small percentage because I could, when I review their questionnaires and I go through the interview, I pretty much know if this person is gone through these experiences or going through, because the big red flag is, to me, is when I ask them about their family.
Right.
Their parents, their grandparents, and so forth. And it's amazing when some people will finally ask their parents or grandparents. Sometimes the grandparents will all of a sudden say to grandmother, will go, "Oh yeah, I remember. I saw these. I don't know what she called them. I don't know if she called them ghosts or something that would come in the house and." And, I had this one client that said, "Oh, my God, Grandma, you never told me that." It's like she came out of the clear blue, and maybe because she was getting older, and I think she may have wanted to talk about it. But I've had so many instances of that. It was amazing.
Oh, I get it. I totally get that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. And, the reason why I'm asking, this is great for the audience to hear. Because they can also do their own assessment, on the past and go, oh, all right, well, I don't need to talk to Yvonne, but I definitely need to talk to somebody, right? But it's not going to be about that. Let's take a break right here. We got to take a break. So let's do that right now. Our guest tonight is Yvonne Smith, hypnotherapist. And you've got to check out, if you go to Yvonne's website, her books are right there, and CERO International is it right there on the front of JimmyChurchRadio.com. You can just click. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Yvonne Smith. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. And last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Twitter's on fire, and this show's dedicated to our Fader mom, Lynn Lewis, who passed away on Sunday. And Lynn Lewis founded CERO, Close Encounter Resource Organization, back in 1991. She's with us tonight, and what I wanted to ask you, Yvonne, is what do they want? What does ET want? What are they doing with these abductions and these close encounters?
Oh, well, that's the ultimate $1 million question. I'm asked that all the time. You know, I wish I had a definitive answer because I ask them. Of course, I don't get any answers. But as I mentioned, I am convinced that the abductions, all the procedures, the whole process. I mean, it's more than just the medical procedures. I mean, of course, they take our DNA, which they're very interested in, and they need us for that. They take over, they take sperm, they create this hybrid race. People have been shown babies. They're abducted over and over and shown the different stages of their children, because usually there's more than one that they have, more than one hybrid child. But these babies, these children are growing, and they are now here on Earth. And I'm not saying, 500,000 or 1 million, but people have felt that they interacted with a hybrid or an individual who looked very human, but when you began to interact with them, engage with them in conversation, there was something very different about them. I know David Jacobs in his book talks about that.
Yeah, he does. He does. And his research is fascinating with that. And what I wanted to ask you, and I feel like I interrupted, I apologize for that, but
that's okay.
All of the conferences that you and I do together around the country, and we have these, we have large amounts of people around us. Have you ever suspected that somebody that you were interacting with may not be wholly human?
Oh, there was one experience that I had in Roswell. This is probably about 5 years ago, maybe.
Right.
I remember lecturing in the video room there in the museum.
Right.
And full room, and I noticed this little boy sitting in the front. And I looked at him, and his hair was a little different. It was almost, it was almost, I thought, God, is that real hair? But he was sitting there, and I didn't know if he was with a mother or what, but I just kept, I went on with my lecture, and I was showing, of course, the triangles, and he, during the Q&A, he raised his hand, and he asked me a question about one of the triangles, but the way he asked it, Jimmy, I mean, he looked like he was about 10 years old, but the way he asked the question, and I don't quite remember all of his words, but he said something like, well, according to or have you inquired to the scientists about, and he's talking about the triangle, and it wasn't like a typical 10-year-old question. And other people had noticed him, and when he walked out, a couple of women left the room after it was over, and he walked out, and they were kind of following him. It looked like he was by himself. And he also sat in on Ron Regeer's lecture upstairs. And Ron came up to me later. He goes, "Did you have that little boy in your lecture?" I said, "Yeah, I did." So, I'm not saying, I don't know for sure, of course, but he was just not like any 10-year-old I've ever, spoken to.
A 10-year-old took you off your game, right?
Yeah. I mean, it just, he asked the question like an adult, but a very intelligent, just very intelligent question. I think I glazed over, like, am I going to be able to answer this question? Sure. But I did, and I don't remember because this was like 5 years ago. But when Ron asked me if I saw him, I thought, oh my God, there's something to this. So that happened. But I've had a couple of my CERO members, several of my clients say that they feel that they talked to somebody that wasn't quite human, but they looked human. In other words, if you walked by them, it wasn't like you were going to be startled. They just looked like a human, but some of them say they feel like they could read your mind. One or two of my clients drew a picture of him. One described him as being very thin. She thought he was homeless because he looked very thin and as if he hadn't eaten for a while. But then after they stopped talking, it was after this film premiere, he got into a car. So she said, well, he's not, I don't think he's homeless, but so there's been instances like that. I write about this lady in my original Chosen with the black cover. It was the last chapter in there, I believe, and this was in the 60s. This was after the Betty and Barney Hill case, and this woman felt that she interacted with this person. Now, there's a lot to this, but to try to make the long story short, she worked and lived in a mainly Hispanic community. This person that walked in when she was having her coffee in this restaurant, she was taking a coffee break. He walks in, he's probably about 6 feet tall, very fair hair. So Jimmy, he stood out from this community. And that's why she looked at him like, gosh, where did he come from? He goes directly to her table and asked, may I sit here? And she looked around the restaurant like, there's other tables, but, she didn't say anything, but she said yes. And she said when he sat down and looked at her, it startled her because it was as if he was looking right through her. And then he said to her, "You're thinking about him, aren't you?" And that's when she thought, oh my God, because she was thinking about this person that she was attracted to, but she hadn't told him yet. So the whole, it was just, and this was in the 60s. I think it was around 63. And I had to put it in there because we've been talking about hybrids. He could have been a perfected hybrid way back then. But she said he was dressed just, impeccable. I mean, he was, his hair, everything was perfect about him. And that's what they say about these people.
What do you do?
He reminded me of, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I thought you paused, so I was going to jump in.
No, it's okay. That's okay.
What do you do with somebody that just can't be hypnotized? Like, I don't think I can be hypnotized. I don't know. But what do you do when you encounter that? Or are you just so good at what you do that you can normally get to that point?
Well, everyone can be hypnotized. It's just a matter of the person deciding they're just going to allow me to be their facilitator. But it takes trust and it takes rapport, and that's developed over time. Now, there's been instances where the person was so nervous they just couldn't relax, because think about what I do. I mean, the person comes in, usually people who come and see me, they've never been hypnotized at all.
Right.
And so I explain the process of hypnosis, that they're not going to be blacked out. I don't give them drugs. I'm not going to control their mind. But they've never been hypnotized, so they're going to experience that. Then we're going to be going into the unknown. So they're very nervous about that. And I've had, through the years, every once in a while, somebody just was too nervous or couldn't relax, and their mind was wandering, which is very, it's common, especially for their first time. The first session is usually the most difficult. I've had clients that are, from all walks of life. I mean, I had this one gentleman who was, used to being in control, president of his own company, he just had over 100 employees. And so he comes to me and, he feels like, oh my God, I have to relinquish control. It took about 3 or so sessions, but we finally started making progress. And, sometimes it takes time, but he was willing to come back and see me, and because he wanted to know what happened to him. And, I gave him credit for coming back, but he realized I am going to be safe in her hands. She's going to bring me back. And even when people go through reliving their experiences, I use different techniques so they don't have to experience the pain or the fear. But the important thing is for them to verbalize everything that's coming through. And that's what helps with the healing, is that they're no longer holding all of this in, which makes somebody ill, which causes the PTSD symptoms. Sleepless nights, they're hyper-vigilant. This is all they can think about. Something will trigger an experience. So the process of the regressions does promote the healing and incorporating this experience in their lives, because I'm always asked, Yvonne, can you make this stop? well, I wish I could. I don't have that control, that ability to do that, but I can help them and assist them in incorporating the experience in their lives so that they can live a productive life. And I have people coming back to me, after 20 some odd years saying they were very grateful. A couple of them, which, always worries me, had said, I would have committed suicide if I hadn't, done the regressions, because they were so traumatized, but they didn't know why. So it's a process, Jimmy. In working with somebody, I can eventually have them relax and have them let go and have them just listen to my voice.
Have you found, do they have, those that have made contact or maybe have gone through an abduction experience, do you find that they have an unusual amount of sightings and see craft, and that this is something that is a lifelong experience and it's just not one event?
Oh, yes, definitely. It's usually not one event. And the people who've had experiences have seen craft. And I mean, very recently, I have CERO members and other clients, will text me and say, oh my God, I just saw something. They tend to have the sightings, and it's interesting that the beings and the craft, they will appear to people who they want them to see them. I have couples where one person sees the craft and the other person doesn't. It happens in families as well, where maybe one or two people will see it and the others don't. And it's because they are now in their program, and they do have these sightings and high strangeness and synchronicities throughout their life.
And what about the situation where, and we hear about this so often, where somebody has a sighting and they think that is it, right? And then later they find out that it wasn't, the sighting was just the beginning of the event or the end of the event.
Or the end of it.
Right, right. What do we do with that? And this is what's frightening with me, is I've had a lot of sightings, right? I have, Yvonne, but I don't want to know. Right? I don't want to know. I don't.
Sure.
I'm cool with what I have seen. If something else went on, I don't want to know.
Well, that's the thing, Jimmy. And, I tell a person, if your life is going fine, you're working, you have a productive life, you have your family, your loved ones, you're able to sleep and you socialize, then leave it alone. It's the people who come to me are the ones that they're not sleeping. They're having nightmares. They're so distracted by this that they're unable to concentrate at work. And of course that's going to interfere with their work and so forth and their family life. So those are the people who come to me and seek help. The ones that say, oh, I'm fine, but I kind of want to know it. It might be fun. I tell them, if you're fine right now, I said, don't open that box. Once the toothpaste is squeezed out of the tube, you can't put it back.
Right.
I said, so just, leave it alone. I don't do this for fun. People do this. They want to find out what happened because they want to heal and they want to help their children. So, Jimmy, don't worry about that you don't want to know. I mean, it's not necessary for you. You're leading a productive life, but you've had many sightings. That's probably why you're doing your radio show.
Well, and the audience, every time I have a guest on like you and the audience is listening, they all know my experiences, right? I've been very public about them over the years. And Jimmy, here you go. Here's your chance. Do it on the air, Jimmy. Do it on the air. What could go wrong, right? So, but and I usually address that, but I don't. I'm just comfortable with that, and I know that there's the possibility of something else out there, but that's not for me. But I know, and you're absolutely right. Most need those answers. Most do, and they need to go and erase that. There have been a couple of instances in my life where some traumatic things were cleared up in the past, from the past. And the second that is done, it's amazing how clean your brain starts to work, and
absolutely.
Yeah, it's something that people need to go through. And I'm not going to go through that stuff on the air with me personally that I've gone through. But I know that once you erase some of these things from the past and you take care of the dirty laundry and you get done with that, you can run clean, and it's an amazing thing. So some people just have to do it, and their life will change for the better.
And it does. And I'm so grateful when I hear back from my clients and I get feedback, and it just makes me feel that, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do because I can help these people. So I'm grateful to my clients and my support group, because they support me. But I would say, Jimmy, just don't worry about it. Leave it alone. You don't need to know. Enjoy your sightings, take pictures, share it. But you don't need to go through the process, because it is a process. It doesn't you can't just do 1 or 2 sessions. It is a process to bring up these memories.
Now, what about the opposite? Have you gone through a session and then found out maybe somebody thought it was something else, a true PTSD situation that is unrelated to ET or an alien encounter, and then that comes out? How do you deal with that with a client? Oh, also, do you videotape? Do you videotape? And do you have somebody else in the room, as a witness to this?
Many times. I always tape it, audio tape it with my digital recorder.
Right.
Several times a client will bring in a video camera. They'll have somebody operate it, or they just set it and turn it on. They will have someone come with them. They always ask me, is it okay if my wife or husband come? I tell them it's up to you.
Right.
I don't always have a witness in there because it's up to the client. If the client's not comfortable having someone else there, because they are, telling me, very intimate things that happened to them in the past and maybe most recently, that and usually I'm the first person they have talked to about this.
Right.
So they have to warm up to talking to other people. But I've had people bring in their significant others or a sibling, into the sessions. But I record them, and if people want to have a copy, I'll send them a copy. Sometimes people don't want to listen to it; they're not ready to listen to it, which I understand.
Sure.
And you had asked me the other question about if something else came through. In my work as a hypnotherapist, I'm very fortunate that I don't have to start from square one. Many people who come to me are referrals from psychiatrists or their psychologists. They have gone through the traditional therapy. If they were abused as children, they have covered that. Or they have, maybe gone through the PTSD when, coming back from the military. So when they come to me, it's because their therapist cannot seem to tap into this area that is still haunting them, that is still causing dreams, vivid dreams, or recurring dreams. So I will get, contacted by the therapist and say, I think this is your area. You mentioned something about he had a sighting or something, and so I get referred. So they have already gone through everything else. It's like they've been peeling the layers of the onion. Now, every once in a while through the years, I've had people where they've not gone to a therapist, but they have this high strangeness throughout their life. But other things did come up. This one lady, she broke up with her boyfriend. It was still very painful for her. Or she didn't break up, he did. It was still very painful for her. And so I told her, before we can get to the possible alien stuff, we've got to address what you are dealing with now. And I worked very deep with her. It was very painful, but all of that emotion came through, and she was able to vent it, and then we were able to get through. And she was, in fact, abducted as a child, and throughout her life. So it just makes my work a little bit harder, because then I have to start. Then I said, okay, we'll peel this layer, and then we'll go on to the next. But that's been, not often, but it has happened. And again, as you mentioned, when we can bring up all the, the negatives that have been holding someone back, and just releasing it and venting it. It just clears a person, where they can move forward. And so does the regressions. It does the same thing where, they're releasing this, bringing up these memories of these experiences, which are frightening. Often they're frightening. In the beginning, they're frightening. But intellectually, they'll say, okay, I'm having this experience, but I'm brought back. I'm still alive. I'm still loved by my family. Now I could go to a support group. That it just all included within the healing.
It's got to be very rewarding when it happens like that too, as well. I mean, that's just got to make you feel great, and because you can see the change.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I'm sure the change is immediate. Let's take a break right here. Yes. Our guest tonight, Yvonne Smith. Now, when I come back, I've got to talk about other things. When we talk about PTSD, what about my lab or other things that could surface in a regression therapy? Our guest tonight, Yvonne Smith. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Yvonne Smith. And the show tonight is for Lynn Lewis and our Fader mom who passed away this past Sunday. And rest in peace, Lynn. And our thoughts are with you right now. Now, come down here and knock something over in the bunker. I need you to do something for me. Yvonne, yeah, one of, this show has built the most amazing audience, and it's gotten so big and so fun, and that part of it is just amazing. But Lynn Lewis, who from Australia, who was with us from the very, very beginning, was here with us every single night, calling us and hanging out, and dang it, she passed away on Sunday. And,
Okay, is there a relation? Is it
No. Our family, our Fadernauts, right? She was the den mother, man. She kept this audience in line over the years, and she passed away on Sunday. So I'm watching Twitter.
Was it a surprise? I mean,
yeah.
Was it expected?
No, it was a surprise. It was a surprise, and it caught us completely off guard. We just, yeah, it's a drag. But like I said, I want something to knock over. All the video cameras are running here in the studio, right, for our live video feed. So maybe we'll see something live happen. It'll be cool.
I'm sure she will do that for you.
Yeah, all of the audience is posting pictures and Twitter of shot glasses, and you just gotta love it, man. It's just so cool. So I wanted to ask you, when it comes to, there's another part of this, as evil as it sounds, that I think that a lot of, not a large part, but some abductions could be, dark. Maybe our own government or my labs, and people think that these are real experiences, and they find out later that it wasn't. It was something that was staged. What's your experience with that? Have you uncovered anything, dark?
Well, I do not. I wouldn't be surprised if a faction of our government or a faction of the military very interested in what the I'll call it abductees experiencers are told or are shown when they are taken, and then this is lifelong for them.
Right.
Over the years, I've had people describe themselves in the examination room, and they'll describe a human being in there. And one will, they'll say, it looks like he's wearing a lab coat, and he has he's writing on a pad or a clipboard. Now, this is very tricky. I know that people have described being taken by that faction of the military. I know my friend and colleague Melinda Leslie has been doing research about it for many years, and she's had her own experiences. But in this work, I have to be careful not to interpret right away. I mean, they'll say the lab coat. They'll also say, I've had descriptions of military uniform.
Mm-hmm.
I've had descriptions of feeling like they're underground in just a regular building because they're describing corners. Now, when they're on a ship, there are no corners. Everything is usually round. Because I would deliberately ask them, what's in the corner? What are in the corners of the room? And they'll look around, and they're saying there's no corners. I ask leading questions every once in a while, but in this work, you have to be careful with screen memory because the alien beings can place a picture or a vision in someone's memory to make them think this is what they're seeing rather than what's actually happening. They will see dead relatives, their dead mother, and they realize later, oh, that's not my mother, and then they get really angry because they feel that they're just being, they're being toyed with that way. One of my clients described the term, but I can't say it on the air. So I have had cases of people describing those things, being taken they feel like they're being taken underground. They see humans with uniforms or a doctor's lab coat. And there very, very well could be the connection there with our own government, which I can't even excuse because of alien beings. Okay, they're from somewhere else and they have an agenda. Okay, we're still trying to find out what's going on, but our own government who lies to us anyway, and the military doing something like this, and threatening people. I mean, to me, that's not acceptable.
Have you logged different types of species and beings as well? And I'm sure that list might be, starting to get kind of long.
The most common that are described, of course, are the small, ball-headed, large eyes, very robotic, are the ones that take a person out of their normal environment and escort them onto the ship. Then once they're on board, there'll be several different types working together, and there definitely is a chain of command on the ship. They will describe a taller, well, we call them grays nowadays, a taller gray beings that sometimes will have a uniform. They're taller, but they seem to be more in charge. Of course, they're in charge of the smaller ones. And then the praying mantis is described coming in once the person is situated on the table. He seems to be in charge. He's very tall, and he will sometimes just stand at the side and maybe give orders or watch, observe what's going on. There's the light beings that people describe. They look like they're illuminated within themselves. Of course, they've seen the hybrids or very human beings on board. Every once in a while, they will describe a reptilian, but I haven't come across the reptilians as often as the other alien beings that I've been describing. But they are there.
Right. Have you seen the TV show People of Earth?
Jimmy, I cannot get myself to watch that show.
Oh,
everybody says it's hilarious, and it's probably hilarious, it's probably good, but I just can't. I feel like, it's probably a good show, and it's based on a support group, and they have a therapist, from what I understand, conducting the support group means, I wonder where they got that idea.
That's why I'm asking. I thought you were a consultant. On the show.
That's, nobody came to talk to me, and I feel the people who should be making the money from something like this should be the experiencers.
Right.
Not a bunch of actors.
Right.
But what's really funny to me is that the experiencers love the show.
They love it. I love it.
They love it. No one has said, "Oh my God, I'm insulted." I'm the one that I'm resistant. I haven't been able to watch it.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I guarantee you just go and binge it, Yvonne. Just go and binge it. The 2 seasons. Just get it out of the way. Get it out of the way.
Try.
The reason why, and this is what I love about the show. First off, if you can't laugh at yourself, right? Okay, so there's that element of it. But the level of research and the way that they deal with it, even though it's a comedy, it is spot on the money. Whoever, I'm telling you right now, one of the CERO group members is a writer for this show, and you don't even know it because it is so perfect. They go to a UFO conference, right? They go to this conference, and they're going through, and they're visiting different tables, right? And they're just going through and checking it out. And it's the police, right? Undercover, whatever. And so they're doing this thing at this UFO conference, and I swear it's every conference that you and I have ever attended. And it is so funny. And but again, back to my point, everything that you're talking about here, all the things that I do on this show, and your friends and colleagues and so forth, the way that it's presented in this show allows us to go in for when I say us, the vast audience out there that knows nothing about the abduction phenomenon, right? That knows nothing what people are going through and an experiencer, and have to go to a group and a support group and talk through this and get through this. That's what I appreciate about the show. And they are able to watch this, laugh about it. Okay, great. It's a comedy. It's a funny show. But get exposed to the phenomenon. And that's the part that I really, really enjoy about the show. Because think about the millions of people that have never heard of the abduction phenomenon. Now they have something. They could actually watch this show and be able to hang in a conversation with you. Right? And
well, that's a good way to look at it. If it does bring attention to the general public, not in a negative way or in a way that is going to cause more ridicule, but where someone will come up to me and say, "Gosh, does that really happen? I just saw the show." Okay, I will engage in conversation. But that's positive.
I have not, and you're right, I have not talked to any friend of mine or researcher or author about that show that has had anything negative to say. They're like, "Man, that is us," right? It's us. It is so well done.
I know, everybody loves it. I probably should watch it so get a good laugh and, laugh at myself. And
you're in this show, by the way. So that's you need to go. I'm telling you, it's really, really, really well done. But anyway, so back to this though. When you have the CERO support group together and you guys are sitting and talking through this, the changes that you see in them, is it immediate? Is it rewarding? Or is it a long process?
Oh, it's a process. It's not overnight, but I have seen people who would originally come into my office and they can't get through talking about what's happened to them without being in tears. And as time goes on, because I've been working with some of these people for the last 26 years, I see the healing. I see the strength in them. They're helping other experiencers, and I'm telling you, during the abduction experience, the abductees experiencers will go through a graduation process, which what I call a graduation process, that they first start out, and many of them are traumatized because, they're on this table with these strange beings looking at them. They don't know what happened. People think they're crazy. They can't talk to anybody. And as time goes on, and as we're working through regressions, they get to the point where the alien beings are having them escort people around the ship, calming other people down. They know that, they're escorting them to, say, one room to the other, and they feel bad because they know they're escorting them to have examinations and so forth. But it's like they're helping the process. They're calming people down. And I have heard from people who were extremely traumatized at the beginning doing this now on the ship. So it's an amazing process what experiencers go through, and I do love seeing them years later, just living, getting married and having kids or grandkids, and my support group CERO, like probably other support groups as well, throughout the country, they become like family because they're able to relate to each other. They walk in and, they'll socialize as well. It's not just in the meetings because they feel comfortable talking to other like-minded people. And Jimmy, these people are from all walks of life. I mean, I have worked with doctors and lawyers and scientists, people in the film industry, people who are celebrities. These alien beings do not discriminate. So I'm hoping that we're heading more and more towards acceptance from the general public. Now, with the news article coming out about Harry Reid heading up a program in the Pentagon,
right,
to study these things, that I think helped because there were Washington Post, New York Times. They showed the clip of the Navy pilots who spotted that object, and now that's very mainstream.
Have you read?
I think that's going to help us.
Have you read the new article that came out yesterday? The interview with Harry Reid by Eric Benson. Have you read this?
I did not, but where can I find the article?
Okay, it's in New York Magazine, and I will. I'm going to post this up in Twitter right now for everybody. But this interview is pretty interesting, and in fact, he even starts off in the interview. He goes, Harry Reid goes, "Look, man, if you're going to talk to me about little green men, we can stop the interview right now. I'm just here to talk about the science," right? So that's the way Harry Reid starts it off. And it's pretty fascinating. So what's your Twitter handle?
I just have Facebook. I don't have Twitter.
Okay.
I probably should have Twitter.
Okay, I'm going to send it to you over in Facebook right now. I'll do that in real time.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Now,
I appreciate that.
Something else has come up with me over the years with different experiencers, and one of them, which I find fascinating, is that they are walking down the hull of a ship, and they look into a room and they see a classroom with kids being instructed. Have you heard this in some of your sessions?
Oh, my gosh. I have clients, almost everyone, as children, have been in a classroom setting with other human children. And they are instructed how to move objects with their mind. They said they're able to do it. I have some slides that show them sitting in front of a computer terminal type object, and they're supposed to play this game and try to figure this out. But, oh, yes, I have hundreds of cases about, children sitting in the classroom, or a human child showing the hybrid children how to play with toys.
Really? They could blend into society.
Well, that's what I assume, because supposedly they're here now. And I don't, I feel they're not going to try to take us over like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I don't feel that because they do need us. They need our DNA. They need our emotions. They need much from us. So the ultimate end game, Jimmy, I wish I knew. Believe me, if I find out, if they tell me something, I'm going to come back on your show and share it with you.
And going with this massive amount of disclosure that's happened since December with the mass media. What has your phone been like in your email? Is this starting to stir memories with some, and are they starting to reach out to you? Are you seeing a raise in consciousness about this and awareness?
Not more than usual. But I feel if it continues, it's going to awaken the people that never even thought about something flying around up there. And I think it's going to spark some memories in people. Grant Cameron last night, it said that, he talked about the article, Harry Reid, the To the Stars Foundation, and said that there's going to be more to come. So I think they're doling the information out slowly. But you know what? Really, I feel that disclosure is going to come from the experiencers. There's going to be people coming forward, and they already have, from all walks of life, and just admitting to the public that, look, I've been a neurosurgeon for 40 years, but I've also been abducted since I was a little boy.
Don't you wonder about that? I'm always fascinated with that. How many people know and remember and have an experience, but they've never said a word?
Oh, probably many.
Millions.
Oh, probably millions. And I'm talking from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Your doctor, my doctor, dentist. Mm-hmm. It's so widespread. And that's why I feel it's going to come from the experiencers. The abduction phenomenon is central to this. I feel it very strongly.
Yeah, absolutely. I base it on my own experience. I had a crazy thing, you know about this, back in 1995 in my condo in Sherman Oaks. Had, you know, this thing that happened in my room early in the morning, and I didn't tell anybody for 10 years. I did, and even then, when I sort of talked about it with a friend of mine, I really didn't tell him everything, right? And so,
sure. That's so common.
Exactly. You know, so if I did it, I wouldn't even know what that number would be. You know, once I started talking about it, and the first time I really went public was either here or maybe it was on Coast to Coast. I don't know which one happened first. But once I started talking about it, I couldn't shut up. I mean, that was it.
Of course.
I was so happy to get it off.
Another thing that, you know, before we close tonight, I want to, you know, out there to your audience, I want to mention that in the second half of my new book, Chosen, I call it the urgency. For the last 5 or so years, people have been telling me, experiencers, CERO members, new people, that they've been feeling that something is going to happen very soon. They can't put their finger on it. There's no specific date. They don't know what it is, but they feel that it's accelerating now. And if your listeners read my book, and if you have felt this urgency that you have to do something, they come to me and say, I think I'm supposed to do something, but I don't know what it is. And, you know, I've had people who have owned their own companies, have made 6 figures, and said to me, I'm supposed to do something, and I don't really care about the money anymore. It just doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm supposed to do something to help humanity, you know, to help the earth. I mean, that struck me because I've heard it from several people. So whatever this is, I like to hear from more people out there if they're feeling this or they have felt this. And, you know, if they have received any messages. I mean, a lot of my members and clients have said they're compelled to go out and buy extra food and water and generators and, you know, but nobody's saying the world's going to end in a year. You know, nobody's giving any dates. Nobody's saying anything like that, which I feel is more credible than somebody predicting a date. They're all saying, I don't know when, but they're all saying now it's accelerating. I don't know if you have felt that, Jimmy, but that's why I felt it important enough to put in my book.
Well, I've got all the links up. I just posted them up in Twitter. And so there's CERO International's website, also Yvonne's online shop, and the new book is right there, which is called Chosen, From the Alien Hybrid Program to the Fate of the Planet. You can get that. And another excellent read, which I highly recommend, is Coronado. And, you know, what we should do, Yvonne, is very soon, we should come back, bring you back on, and fully go through Coronado again. That is one of the most fascinating. Oh, what a fascinating, not only event, the book is a tremendous read. This should be up there with all of the other great cases out there. And there's so many cases that don't get the recognition of some others. And Coronado is one of those. It's a tremendous read. So I've got the links up for both of those. And everybody can click on it right there on Twitter. Absolutely. Yvonne, again, a fascinating conversation. And I can't wait to get you back on the show. But keep doing what you do and keep rolling that rock uphill. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jimmy, for having me on. God bless you.
Right back at you. I said it again. Lynn Lewis. I see, Yvonne. Lynn Lewis is here.
I told you she'd be there.
She snuck it in. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Be safe.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yvonne Smith. Lynn Lewis made sure she did that twice now. You got to love it. I've got to take a quick break right here. And when I come back, what I would like to do with everybody, I'm going to open up the phone lines. And if you would like to call in and say something about Lynn Lewis, she would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. And all of the other Fadernauts too. So 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Lynn Lewis in the house. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you so much, Yvonne Smith. Amazing conversation. This is Fade to Black. I'll be right back.
Hey, what up, y'all? Sugar Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of. Ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I want to thank Yvonne Smith. Great conversation. She is absolutely amazing. And the links for CERO International, it's CEROINTL.com or .org, but the links are right there. It's .com. Are right there in Twitter, and her new book is there too as well. Coronado is absolutely amazing. What an amazing story that went on down at the Hotel Coronado down in San Diego. So anyway, thank you for that conversation, Yvonne. And as mentioned, this show is dedicated to Lynn Lewis, who was our mom around here. You know, and she kept everybody straight. She passed away this past Sunday. And so I'm going to open up the phone lines, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. And I'd like to hear from you. And, you know, Lynn was absolutely amazing. It caught us by surprise, and I realize with her family and the way that they posted that, it happened, and it was really, really fast. We didn't have any warning about it, and sometimes it happens that way. So we were caught by surprise, even though it happened on Sunday. Of course, she lives in Australia. We're over here. And, you know, and we were, Mark Tarana, and I noticed a few people out there, Mark Tarana especially, trying to reach out to her. Well, her family let us know what happened. So 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. And talking about Lynn, now, and I know you guys caught this, Lynn is on my mind, right? She's on my mind. And she was just a big part of our family. And to have me slip up twice, I think 3 times tonight now, with Lynn sneaking into my brain, I think that's amazing. I think that is just so cool. And it happened, and all of you got to hear it. So there you go, 323-825-5045, or let me click on these and clear this stuff out. And okay, so that line is now good. And let me get over here to this other computer and make sure I've got that open. 323, this is the 275-9695 line is now open too as well. All right, there you go. Lynn Lewis. A couple of things that I wanted to comment on really quickly is, number one, the Chinese space station, the Tiangong 1. It looks like it's going to come down soon, and they're predicting now that it is going to crash into or over the Midwestern United States, specifically Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, and Wisconsin. Now, it's going to miss L.A. I'm kind of bummed about that because I would have loved to have gotten me some Chinese Space Lab space junk, pop that stuff up on eBay, right? Or put it in here in the bunker, some radioactiveness. But it looks like it's going to come down over the United States. How crazy is that? And what if you get conked on the head? Do you sue the Chinese? Think about that. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Oh, hi, Jimmy. It's Janine.
Hi,
again.
Janine.
Janine from Humboldt.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Hey, I didn't know Lynn like you guys did, but I want to offer my condolences to all of the Fadernauts and to Lynn's family. And when any of you guys get to feeling sad, just think about her being over there on the new earth, getting your studio all set up. So that
and you know, yeah, Janine, seriously, thank you for that. And you know, what was amazing about Lynn? Well, she had lots of amazing qualities. You know, a great sense of humor, very smart, and wouldn't take any crap, and really, really fun to talk to. But what was amazing is from Australia, she was here every single night for this show, right? And called in as any time. I mean, that was it.
I know. I heard you talk to her.
Yeah, she was just great every single night, and watching her keep everybody in line was really, really, really funny. She was just absolutely amazing, and I mean that. She supported this show from the very, very beginning. So you never messed around with her on Twitter, huh?
I don't remember whether I did or not.
Oh,
I might have. I might have.
It's because you never stepped out of line.
Not here. You know what I mean? I'm out of line everywhere else, but here, no.
Yeah,
out of line.
Yeah, she was amazing, and I do want to thank you for calling in and saying that. It means a lot to all of the Fadernauts. Thank you so much, Janine.
Oh, you're very welcome, Jimmy. You have a great weekend.
You too. Be safe out there.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. And back to a UFO over Vancouver last week. This looks, I don't think this was last week. Who posted this? Jack. This video, this is a still from a video. This goes back a few years. I've seen the whole video on this and seen it turn. I've got a whole file folder of stills that I took from this. This is what I think. I think I remember seeing this in the video. This was a balloon or something that was reflecting the sunlight. You have to see the whole video as it's turning. You can tell this looks like a solid structure, but it's not. It's a collapsing thing. And the top and the bottom where it's lit up, this is reflecting the sun. So there you go. All right. Let's go to, Mark, you're live from Australia. What's going on in the background? Mark, you're live.
Jimmy?
Yes, you're live, but roll up the window. What is that?
Mate, I'm standing between a bunch of trains, mate. I'm trying my hardest.
Okay, all right. And thank you, for calling in, but you got the news out to the Fadernaut family today and caught me by surprise, and you were reaching out. You must have been pretty saddened by the news yourself.
Mate, I didn't expect that answer at all, Jimmy. I was talking to Karen last night on direct message about her plumbing issues, and she said to me, "Have you heard from Lynn lately?" And I said, "No, actually, it's strange. Now, she has been AWOL in the past because of her health."
Right.
And that's when I decided to reach out on all the different platforms that I have anyway. And, I wasn't expecting that answer. Seriously, Jimmy?
Yeah, I saw it immediately, and I'm looking at, the timestamps, right? It was just like an immediate thing. And I had to go back and check from your original post as opposed to her sister's response and then yours and so forth, right? And everybody react. I was like, it was Sunday, but this news is breaking right now to all of us. And I didn't even know how to react because that was not the response I was expecting either. And
no, exactly, mate. I was at work and I could feel my phone in my pocket vibrating, and I thought it was busy, and then it started getting crazier and crazier, and I thought, hang on, I better have a look here, and that's when I sort of saw that message and I went, wow.
Now,
totally by surprise, mate. Totally.
Okay, so let's now that we got that out of the way, let me ask you this: you're over in Australia. Did you ever get a chance to hang out with her?
No, mate. She's down in Queensland on the border.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't get a chance, unfortunately.
Right, because I know that you guys were in contact, but
all the time on direct messages and on Facebook Messenger all the time. And she'd send me links to shows, and I'd have a listen, and vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a very sad time, Jimmy. Very sad time.
And so for the audience out there that may not understand why we are, Lynn has been a part of this. This family is family. It's big, but it's family, and everybody knows each other. And so, the one who is Lynn, who was somebody that we just looked up to, and was, she was the Federnauts' mom, and that's it. And so it's just something that we've lost a family member. And
no, exactly. She didn't take any crap either.
No, she was the best for that, man. She gave me enough crap over the years too, as well. I loved her for every minute of it. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to call in all the way from Australia. And again, this show was for Lynn, and thank you for that. I know that you guys were close. Thank you, my friend.
No problem, mate. Have a good day, and thanks for taking my call. See you later, Federnauts.
There you go. It's Mark Tarana all the way from Australia. Now, I've got Steve from Bluefield. Steve, how are you, man?
What's up, Mr. Jimmy Church?
The show's for Lynn.
Man, that's so sad, Jimmy, but I've had experience with the afterlife, and I'm kind of, wouldn't say I'm jealous, but she's in a better place.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were going to say that too. I knew that you were going to say that. And I find comfort in that.
Me too. That's, gosh, I wouldn't want everyone to have to experience what I experienced, but it's something that, man, if you could just have a few moments of what now I call fortunate. At the time, it wasn't too fortunate, but after you have that experience and realize that, man, it's something that's waiting for us that is so beautiful, so peaceful, so loving, and in tune with your being is the best way that I can explain it. It's just a magnificent, no one wants to check out, I guess, but it's nothing to be afraid of. It's actually, magnificent, Jimmy. It's something that's magnificent, and it's definitely nothing to fear. As long as you have lived life the way that you should live life, and be a service to other, and to love, and to cherish, and to be open-minded, and support people and help people that need help. You will experience the good things that come after that.
And I thank you again for that. And just like so many others, you've been with this show forever, what seems like forever. And how this family looks at each other here, and you get right. This. And the Federnauts, it's a family member.
And it is such a tight niche of people, Jimmy. It's it's so hard for, I guess, people that are looking at it from the outside, and until you're truly inside and you're a Federnaut and you become a part of this family. I just really don't think people, grasp or understand, where we come from.
That's right.
That's a shame. I really wish that more people could feel and understand, what we're about, and what the whole community, not just being a Federnaut, but the whole UFO community.
Yep.
Yes, we have our problems at times, and there are some people that are, without, being disrespectful to anyone, just some people are just who they are, Jimmy. And, those are the kind of people you just kind of got to shrug off, and it is what it is. But 99.9% of the people that are involved in this community are, loving, cherished, people who really care for one another and really, really care for humanity and for God and for everything that needs to be done. It's just a wonderful thing, and it's a wonderful thing to be a part of, Jimmy.
And thank you for being a part of it. And you're a big part of this family. And just thank you for that. And thank you for taking the time to call in tonight. It's a very special night.
Yeah, no problem, brother. And Jimmy, as always, brother, thanks for the time.
You got it. Thank you so much, Steve. Behave and be well, my friend. Give my best to the family.
Have a good one.
You got it. Steve Bunker, right there. Steve Bunker. I'm looking at these amazing photographs of Lynn that everybody is posting. And Justin, I don't know where you got this, but I remember this picture of Lynn next to the bookcase, and I just had to retweet that. But I don't know where you guys are getting, and the picture of her with a bird. I remember these over the years, and I can't believe that you guys are able to collect these and get these up. And the memories. Rita just posted this picture of Lynn with her coffee, and just look at that, man. That is just an amazing picture. And I don't know where you guys got them all. And that's a lot of raised glasses. So, and thank you for that. That's just absolutely amazing to look at. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Jimmy, it's Brian.
Hey,
in
Brian.
Nebraska.
How are you, man?
How's everybody, man?
How's the pizza?
Oh, God, it's so good. It's gone.
Man, you know what's funny? Right. When you posted that picture, I smelled it for just a second. I really did, man. I really did. Give them some props. What's the name of the pizza joint?
Dude, man, it is Casey's. Man, I can't read. Casey's General Store Pizza. It's like 3 blocks away. It's righteous. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. And you got the Grey Goose going on. And
man,
yeah, right on.
I woke up like from this nap, and I came downstairs like I always do like all week long. Right, this is my ritual. I came downstairs, and it's like, what? God, man, I get these, and I haven't got them for a while. I get these private message tweets from Lynn in the middle of the night, and it's like, I was going through them. I'll post them up, but the last one was, she was like, "Bri, what's SMM?" And I'm like, oh, that's mainstream media,
Right.
She's like, "Oh, really? What's that?" And we're going on and on and on about it, and it's just this. God, man, it's just this thing where when you know what's going on and the people that are on the inside are like asking, and God, you guys have been so cool to me, like coming in, and it seems like it's been a long time, and it's only been 6 months since I've been tweeting, and like everybody's just like right there, and I'm just, man, Lynn was just so cool. Like in the middle of the night, my phone would beep, and it was her, and you're on the time diff, right? So, but she's like right there.
I'm looking at Lynn's Twitter page, and right there, joined December of 2012. Man, 4.5 years ago. Yeah, she's just amazing. And did you see what her Twitter page says?
I haven't looked. I've just been sitting here like.
It says, "Fade or not, awake."
Nice.
And then she says, "Wake the hell up, world. Listen to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church." Oh, man, that is just classic, man. That is just classic. So when was the last time you talked to her?
you know what? I was looking at it. I was sitting here like going through this stuff, and it was last month. You know?
Yeah.
You just kind of go.
Yeah.
You know how we get, right? We all get busy. Everything's important, right? And then this stuff happens, and then you just like go, what am I doing? I'm not paying attention to what's important because,
Yep, that's exactly right. It's funny how we do that sometimes. And I was speaking today with one of our sponsors, and they said something to me that was, just kind of struck me, that we live our life today in Mach 5. Everything is so fast. Life is fast. The news is fast. Everything is fast, and everything is fast. And it's not like the old days, like in the 80s and the 90s and the 70s, where things were just slow, and you were able to absorb things and appreciate things and learn and take the time. You can't do that anymore, and we're all victims of that. We're all victims. of it. There
was a thing that went out on Coast, and it was years ago, and I hooked up with it, but and I got involved with the program with some people like all over the planet. But it was you were supposed to live. It was like a whole tribe of people that you were supposed to. Basically, it started on January 1, and it went for the entire year. And you were supposed to live every day as if it was your last day. And you had a syllabus. You had things you were going to... I mean, I guess it was kind of bucket list, but it was a little bit more heavy than that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like serious, But, like this is going to be... Like we just... Like if we were on it right now, we would have went through our last Valentine's Day. Was that Valentine's Day to the hilt, like it was going to be your last one? I mean, we don't know, and we're not paying attention that way anymore, So, all this stuff is coming up and going forward. I've always been a proponent for it since I went through it, but it's like, I mean, this is, coming up. I mean, I don't know, Easter, but your last 4th of July, I mean, are you going to kick back? Are you going to like go nuts on fireworks? Your last Thanksgiving could be coming up. Your last Christmas could be coming up. I mean, it's coming, not to be negative, but to be honest, it's happening, it's happening every day in every way to everybody in some way. So, we're getting closer, and we need to pay attention to what's important. And in that, I will say, just from my little small part of the planet over here in the Midwest, you guys are awesome. I'm kind of thoughtful and careful about who I associate with, and I just think you guys are doing like such a good thing.
I think it's so important. And thank you for that, Brian. And you get it. And I think that most do these days. But, it's really, really true. If you screw up and you get hit by a car, you get run over by a bus, and you leave, right? Do you want the last thing that you did on this planet to be something negative?
Exactly.
You don't.
Exactly.
So, man,
that can be corrected. That can be corrected after, and we can take care of that. But there is... Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want
that. It's a surprise when you're on the other side, and you don't have that choice. Yeah, I agree totally.
Absolutely. Hey, Brian, be safe, be well, and have a great, perfect, awesome, safe weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
All right, man.
Thank you
so
much,
everybody.
You got it. Thank you, Brian. This show's dedicated to Lynn Lewis, and she left this world on Sunday. She's much loved, and this family misses her so much already. But that's it. She wants us to go and party, and so let's go and have a great, safe, fun weekend. You do the same with your friends and your family. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camurian. Show is produced by Hill J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you to Yvonne Smith and Jon Rappoport and everybody who called in and tweeted tonight. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Be safe. Lynn Lewis, go Beckley Tappy.